say the top of the neck, not just behind the ears, but a lot of dogs have a lot of wrinkly neck skin under the bottom. So I like to pull the neck skin, right? And get it as high as it can go under the chin as well as on the top. Good? Yes. Perfect. Good. And then that stopper, you can just scoot it in so it's snug. We don't want it too tight, we just want it snug. So if you can get like a couple fingers between the neck and the leash, that's a pretty good size. Great. Excellent. So there is another way you can lock the leash in place.
He loves them all.
All right, so this is a great example. So do you see how I'm holding the leash? I'm not having it through my wrist, but I have it on my thumb, and then I've wrapped my hand around both parts like this. And you can do this anywhere on the leash. You can do it here, like so. So now it's still locked in place. It doesn't come out, and I don't have to use a lot of muscle in order to hold it. I can even loosen my hand a little bit and still have control of the dog and not have to get tense or like really hold it where I think I'm gonna lose them. You can also do it around your first finger. That's another way to do it. You can do it around your second finger if that's more comfortable for you. I prefer the thumb or the first finger depending on what kind of dog I'm walking and what else I got going on. So I like to have the leash short but not tight, so that there's just enough room for the dog to be next to me, but a little bit of slack so that I'm not like really just trying to hang on for dear life, because this means I don't trust, right? This means I don't trust what you're gonna do, I don't trust myself, I don't trust my dog, and if I don't trust my dog's not gonna trust me, right? So if I have the leash locked in place, I trust in that, and I can loosen up. So if the dog wants to lunge and get to the end of the leash, all I have to do is be a tree and let the dog bounce back to me. If I move with the dog towards you, now I'm teaching the dog to pull. But you see how the dog gets to the end of the leash, then I just block it and he comes back, and now the leash is loose again. Yeah? So this is one aspect I want you to learn, so that the dog is not learning to pull you. And I want it to become a reflex. A lot of people have the reflex that when their dog gets to the end of the leash, they move with the dog. And that's how you get a dog pulling on the walk. And the dog just goes, this is how we walk, right? So you notice I'm not correcting the dog. I'm not paying any attention. I'm just creating that boundary there and remaining calm about it and confident, because I know the dog just wants to get back to you, and I'm allowing him to feel that way. But I'm also putting a limit on it. So I'm creating a boundary here at the end of the leash, okay? So anytime your dog gets to the end of the leash, I just want you to create that boundary, and then the shorter your leash gets, then you see it doesn't have as much momentum. So if he wants to move, he can't go very far, because the more leash you have, the more momentum they can gain, and the more strength they have to pull you over. You see what I mean? Making sense so far? So these are a few things I'm going to remind you of, that Lisa and I are going to remind you of when you're walking in every class, is how you're holding the leash, where it is on your dog, and to create that boundary. So nice relaxed body language, don't allow the dog to pull you. So far so good? One thing I didn't go over was how you hold the leash in your hand. Aside from this, we want the leash, if you hold it with one hand here and grab it over top. Right? So that the side of the leash that's going to the dog is going to the back of my hand, to my pinky. So when my arm is relaxed at my side, the dog is being set up to be next to or behind. Do you see that? If I hold this way, now the dog is being set up to be in front. Making sense? So when the dog is in front, a lot of times we end up pulling back like this. A lot of times, you see how much harder it was for me? Like it almost slipped out of my hand. because I was holding it the wrong way.
That's how he does it.
Yeah. Yeah. So when you have a dog that like does that quick lunging, holding it like this, you could lose your dog. Or you might end up running with them so that you don't lose them. It's so much harder to hold that. But if I'm holding this way, all I have to do is lift up, like I'm picking up a bag, right? And if you go one step further and lock it in, you're golden. Just stabilize yourself, knowing that you have a dog that does that. Center yourself. Keep your knees a little bit bent so that your center is down here. And then anytime the dog wants to lunge out at something, boop, nope. So far so good? So, I'm gonna go over this one more time. Leash at the top of the neck. If it falls down, just bring it back up. If your dog starts pulling you, it's probably falling down the neck also, so bring it back up. Hold the leash in your hand so that it's coming out the back towards your dog. You see how quickly I can address when he lunges? Just in the way I'm holding it. So, out the back, to the dog, leash at the top of the neck. Create a boundary when they get to the end of the leash. Just like a tether ball. So you're the pole, this is the chain, this is the ball. So when the ball gets to the bottom of the chain, it just bounces back up. So if you move with the dog, they go, oh, I can pull this person anywhere. When you're a tree, they go, oh, there's no negotiating with a tree. Right? Any questions? Okay, so Lisa and I are going to remind you when you have to adjust your leash, when you have to adjust your handle, when you have to adjust your boundary, and when you need to relax your arms. That's the last one. So we want you to stand up straight, shoulders back, look where you want to go. Don't walk staring at the dog, because it's just going to add pressure, and then you're going to overthink, is the dog doing what I want? Is the dog doing what I want? And you're going to trip over stuff, the dog's going to start pulling you, you're thinking too much. Think less, walk more. Look where you want to go and lead. Lead with the chest. Lead with your heart. And let your arms follow. So just like we're steering the head here, I'm steering with my body. And I'm letting my arms kind of just go with it. So if I want to turn, I'm letting it turn.
He's a bouncer.
It's alright. I'm not addressing any of it. Okay? He banged his head on my hand, so he's like, oh, I'm not doing that again. Right?
He feels no pain.
See how I'm turning? I'm just turning my body. I'm not steering with my arm. Making sense? So far so good? So one more time. Relax. Stay strong here. This is your stability. Lead with your chest. Relax your arms. Keep your leash locked in your hand. Short but not tight. Leash at the top of the neck. Is that too many things? Okay. If it is, we're going to remind you.
We'll keep saying it if we need to, so no worries.
Come on over. Now, if the dog wants to be excited with you, I'm going to wait. Show me how you hold it.